Hello everybody and welcome back to Survive With Me, episode 12. Last episode we built this little hangar space for our cargo shuttle that we can take to space. This is our first space capable vessel. So in today's video we're going to be talking about actually going to space, and I'm going to show you how to do just that. I don't know why I closed the door there, because we are going to be going out very shortly. Before we go to space, there are a few things we want to do. Firstly, we're going to want to charge up that battery, because I can see from here that the batteries are low. So if we hop in the cockpit, pop the batteries on recharge, and let's just have a little mooch here. How long is that going to take? Roughly 15 minutes. And we're also going to want to put a few more things on this. So depending on what you're going to use this for, you might want to put different types of blocks on. If you're a bit worried about losing it and you're going quite far out, I'd recommend you have a survival kit on this. I'm just going to put an ore detector on this. So what I want to do is I actually want to have a little scout. I want to get to space, I want to have a little scout around, see what kind of ore patches we've got nearby, and just assess what kind of a base we could potentially make directly above us. If we make a space station directly above us, it means that we can use laser antennas, which need line of sight to work, to control vehicles on the ground and in space. And it's also just cool to have a station right above your base, I think anyway. Just here. There we go. And then I'm also going to make sure that we've got the oxygen bottle with us. So when we're going to space, obviously here we've got lovely, you can see just under my toolbar down here it says O2 high. Obviously when we go to space, O2 is none. So I'm going to make sure that our bottles are filled up. So we find our O2 H2 generator. So just going to pop it in here for now. And then we've also got a hydrogen bottle which we're going to take with us, which I'm also just going to pop in here for now. They're both at 100%. So that should be fine for us to just go up, do a little bit of scouting and come back down. Now another thing you might want to put onto your shuttlecraft is a parachute hatch. Now a parachute hatch will actually have a conveyor port on the bottom, and this contains a canvas, and this basically allows you to deploy the parachute. You've got settings within the control panel where you can deploy it at different heights. So if you think that you might have a bit of a hard time getting back down, it might be an idea to put a parachute hatch on. So I'm going to put one on, not because I think I need it, but I just want to show you guys how to do it just in case. We also want to queue up some canvas. If we go to, I think it's in equipment, yeah. So this is actually, the parachute will use this. It's like almost ammunition. And it requires canvas to operate. And each time the parachute will deploy, it will use one of the canvas. So I'm going to pop it here because we've actually got conveyor in there. You probably want it more towards the center of mass because, say, if the parachute deploys, the ship is going to be tilted up. So maybe somewhere like here would be a good spot, but I'm not really too fussed. And then we're going to drop the canvas in there, and it should automatically, restock the parachute hatch. Now if we go into the control panel, we find the parachute hatch. We can put an auto deploy height on. So you probably want to leave it at about 500 to 1000, and then you can toggle on auto deploy. I'm going to actually put it on the toolbar here. So I'm going to do auto deploy on off. For now I'm just going to leave it off, but if you say running low on power, or you've not got upwards atmospheric thrust and you've ran out of hydrogen, then you can toggle on that parachute, auto deploy, set its height, and then when you're coming down and it reaches that height, it's going to deploy the parachute and bring you to a very nice stop. If your craft is slightly bigger, you might want multiple, but for this sort of size ship, you're going to get by just fine with the one parachute. Just while we're waiting here, I'm actually just going to quickly add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to add another wind turbine here. Oh, hang on a minute. I need to get one more block. Just because I'm noticing that the base is now using quite a lot of power. and we could actually do with a little bit more generation. So I'm going to pop another wind turbine just up here, just to increase our power generation a little bit. I'm just including this bit in case you guys are following a very similar layout to my base. It's probably time for you to upgrade also. And it'll also help us charge the shuttle quicker. So yeah, I'm just going to let it charge up, and then we'll be back once we're ready to launch. Alright guys, so I think we are ready to go. Now there is going to be a couple things that we're looking for when we get up to space. First of all, it's going to be uranium. Uranium will power reactors and is the end game fuel source. Reactors are extremely good. They last a good while. Also, economy stations. So once you reach orbit, you'll probably see a few economy stations dotted around. So yeah, we want to keep those in mind because we can trade goods there. This thing can carry some components for us up. And also, we can buy ships. So if we trade enough components, complete cargo contracts, etc., we can actually purchase ships, which stops us having to build them, and we can save a bit of time, provided we've got the money. Or we can buy materials, you can probably buy uranium, gold, it depends what trading station you're at. So, I'm going to turn stockpile on, make sure we're at 100% here, and I'm going to quickly talk you through the flight profile. So we're going to fly out the hangar, we're going to turn the hydrogen thrusters off, and then we're going to fly directly up as high as we can with the atmospheric thrusters. Once our speed starts to drop, we're going to kick in the hydrogen thrusters, point ourselves up, and we're going to start increasing the thruster override on the hydrogen thrusters, which are facing the rear. So these are going to push us forward, just until we get up to below 100 meters per second. And what we want to do is not push against the speed limit with our hydrogen thrusters, because that's just wasted fuel. The speed limit is 100 meters per second, you can't go any faster. So if we just hold down W and we keep pushing against it, we're just completely burning through fuel for no reason. The thruster override, we're going to bounce it between a certain percentage, whatever we can find, just to keep it below 100 but above 90. So just keep us in that sweet spot, meaning we're still going up, but we're not pushing ourselves against the speed limit. So make sure the batteries are on auto, turn the tanks off stockpile, and we're going to switch the hydrogen thrusters off, and here we go. So I'm just going to hold down space, double check I've got the bottles on me, yeah. We're just going to hold down space. It doesn't matter too much about holding space when you're using the atmospheric thrusters, pushing against that speed limit, because we've got plenty of energy. We've got 22 minutes of energy here, so that's absolutely fine. If you want, you can turn your dampeners off and just feather yourself a little bit. These thrusters will carry us to probably just above 3 kilometers here. It will get us past the hardest part, which is getting off the ground. You can actually see the ice lake over there. You can just about see our drill rig. Still going here. I don't know where the moon is. Can't actually see the moon anywhere. Our speed should start dropping very soon. It's getting a bit more difficult now, but we are still going up. As you can see, the thruster plume isn't as big anymore, which means we're losing power. We are still going though, and now we're starting to dip. So I'm going to kick in the hydros, point up, and that thruster override. So now we're pushing against the speed limit, so I'm going to turn the thruster override down. As you can see, our speed is now slowly dropping, but I'm going to leave it there until we hit about 90. Oh, but we're actually slowly moving further away from the planet, so we're having less gravitational forces pull us back. So I'm actually going to decrease the thruster override again, and again. Like I said, just keep your speed below 100 but above 90. Try and make sure we're pointing directly up here so we're not wasting too much time. I also want to be directly above the base if possible. We're about to dip below 90, so I'm gonna... oh, we might just make it actually. Make sure you check your velocity on the LCD screen here as well, because sometimes you might lose track of what you're doing and you're actually falling backwards rather than flying up. So this is pretty much it. I'm just going to keep dropping the thruster override over and over again, keeping us between 90 and 100 meters per second until we get to space, which I think is at about 40 kilometers, roughly. So you might start to see a few asteroids before you get out of the gravity well. You can see the gravity just in the bottom right of the toolbar. Those asteroids will actually spawn in the gravity well, so just be a bit careful, because sometimes if you go over to them and park your ship up with the dampeners, you'll turn around and the ship will be slowly disappearing. So just exercise some caution. But other than that, I'm just going to sit here and fly us to space. So we're just coming up to the range now, where you can see a few of those asteroids. There's one over there. And if you look in the bottom right, we're still at 0.16 Gs here. So you can actually check those asteroids out, but you will use fuel if you park there, which is worth keeping in mind. If you've built a similar ship to mine, you've got an O2H2 generator, which is brilliant, which means we can refuel. But I mean, as you can see by my hydrogen here, we've used like 20% hydrogen and we're already pretty much in space. And this is the hardest part. Actually getting back down and flying around in space is pretty cheap, all things considered. You're not going to use a lot of hydrogen. It's getting to space which always takes the most hydrogen. I'm not going to bother scouting out these asteroids because I don't really want to be in the gravity well, so I'm just going to continue on my track until we find some asteroids that aren't in the gravity well. We're at 0.11 Gs now. It usually goes to like 0.05 and then it will just suddenly go to 0. But we're actually at the lowest possible thruster override here, so at this point I'm going to switch the dampeners off and I'm going to do it manually. So I'm going to look at our velocity vector there and I'm going to manually burst us. Just to keep us at 100 meters per second. See that asteroid there? That's just about in the gravity well. These ones might be okay, but it's still cutting it pretty close. I'd love to find like a cluster. That might be inside the gravity well though. Let's check out this asteroid here. Once we get like in space above the base, I'm going to make a marker just so we know where space is directly above the base. And we are now in space. If you look down, 0 Gs. We have reached quote-unquote orbit. Well done. If you've got this far in survival, well done. It is one of the great many achievements that you're going to have in your survival run. So from here on out, we need to be mindful of our oxygen and also how much power we've got left in this thing, because this is our only way back down. Space above Earth base. Capital E. And let's go and start mapping out a few of these asteroids. So I do a similar setup to what we've done on Earth, where as we fly to each asteroid, I'm going to map it, put down what ores we can find, and make sure I create a marker so that I know which ones I've been to. And we've got some resources once we do get up here and we've got a base established and etc. So if you've not been to space before, here's space. When you fly into asteroids, I recommend you point yourself slightly off-center, so just a bit off the asteroid, get up to speed, and then make sure you're not aiming directly at it, because sometimes you can underestimate how quickly you will slow down, and you will not have a good time. So, we do have an ore detector on this thing, but as you can see, these asteroids are enormous. Oh, oops. So we'll actually take a while to fly around and map these, and some of them might not have any ores in them. Now one of the first things we want to focus on finding while we're up here is ice. We need ice to refuel the Rhincodon. When you're circling asteroids like this, sometimes it's a good idea to turn your dampeners off and just sort of glide around. See if you can find any sort of ore. Sometimes it's even a good idea just to pop out. And then, yeah, go around with your suit. Which I'm actually going to do in this case. Make sure you've got your antenna on so you can find this. Gonna lock the Rhincodon down. And then I'm just going to go around, zoom out in third person, see if I can spot any ore patches. They're not always on the surface, but usually some of it will be on... there you go. Bada bing, bada boom. Ice. New GPS. Space. H2O. Lovely jubbly. And there's some more ice just over here as well. That is literally perfect. I couldn't ask for anything better straight away. So we're going to bring the Rhincodon round. I thought that was an ore patch then, it looked slightly off colour. Yeah, we'll bring the Rhincodon over. We can be wasteful now that we've got... well, we know where ice is. Just burn through fuel. That's absolutely perfect. It's right on the way back to Earth as well, so we can refuel here. And for now, I'm just going to get a little bit of ice. Also, when you're mining, stuff is going to float away in space. You can put collectors on ships to try and mitigate this, but when you're hand mining, you're going to be playing catch a lot. Or if you don't care about them, you can just let them float away, I suppose. Or if you've got a large grid ship with an artificial gravity generator, then you're also in a little bit safer hands. You can also just dig like a bit of a J shape, which will trap the ores. It doesn't really matter for things like ice, but if you're mining uranium, you really want like every little droplet that you can get. So you might want to mine like a little J shape, and then it will stop them from flying out as much. So if you mine straight down and then hook it round the corner like that, you see you'll sort of keep them in one location. I don't know how much ice we're going to need here.
Inventory full.
But I'm just going to make sure we've got a good amount of hydrogen. Make sure we're generating hydrogen. Yep. And we've got plenty of ice in our cargo container. Cool. I'm actually going to leave this here for a second, just to fill up with more hydrogen. And I'm going to go have a quick smooch around the rest of this asteroid here and see if I can't find any other ores. It's a bit like Earth, you know. Usually there's like 2 or 3, but more often than sort of the Earth-like planet, you find just one ore in space, which is a bit weird. But I've definitely noticed it more often where you find a single ore on an asteroid. So this might literally just be an ice asteroid. Actually, I literally can't see anything else. But I'll give it a good scan anyway. Sometimes they've got like caves and things like that. It's worth checking them. And then it's also worth checking these little offshoots. Nothing? Crikey, what a boring asteroid. All we've got is ice. Oh, I'm not going to complain. We've got two decent sized patches of ice here. So let's move on. Where's the next closest asteroid? We want to be going that way. We don't want to be shuffling towards the Earth-like planet. I think there'll be one. There's a big one right there. There's also one just up there. We're going to go to that one first because it looks closer. Sometimes things in space can be deceptively far away. Line us up. Blast us across. And then, yeah, very similar to what we did with the Earth-like planet. Just going to go around and map these asteroids, see what we've got here. Like I said, ideally we want to find some uranium. You can't find uranium on Earth. We also want to find some platinum. That would be absolutely amazing. Then we could make the top level tools. But I'll take what I can get until the shuttle runs out. I'm just going to literally mooch around. We've got ice, so we can refuel anytime we need. And my strategy is going to be fly over to an asteroid, dock the shuttle on it, and then I'm just going to fly around with my drill and have a look for any exposed ores. So I'm going to do that for a little while and then I shall be back. And welcome back. So I've found iron, silver, cobalt and nickel. So various different ores. As you can see, I've mapped out quite a lot of these asteroids now. I'm going to keep doing this though, but I'm going to sort of end the video here because we've achieved our goal. We've got to space. When you're in space, you might notice these little Mayday signals and SPRT signals. SPRT is space pirates, and Maydays are random encounters, which if you've got the setting enabled in your world, which is on by default for the solar system start, you're going to get random encounters. It could be a derelict ship, a derelict base, it could be an active base, an active ship. As you can see, there's actually two over there. But it can be worth checking these out. I'd just be a bit careful, be a bit cautious. It's probably a good idea to bring a weapon or two with you. And we're actually going to go and check one out next episode. So if you guys enjoyed this, please like, comment and subscribe to support the channel. And as always, take care, everybody.